Welcome everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and today I would like to have a quick little discussion about how it's starting to look like this is the wrap-up year for Nintendo Switch. And when I say wrap-up, I don't necessarily mean that there will be no more games after 2024 for Switch 1. As I said in multiple videos in the past, I think that the way Nintendo will handle their transition to next gen, they'll support Switch for a few more years, but each year the support will wane bit by bit, kind of like how 3DS was still getting published Nintendo titles until 2019, even though Switch came out in 2017. However, with this idea of a wrap-up year, I do kind of have this sense that perhaps this year is going to be the last big year of Switch where we're going to get all of those projects we've sort of been waiting for throughout the entire Switch era. Whatever's been left, whatever we've been sort of pondering on that may eventually come, perhaps this is the year where we finally see those projects. And what are those projects, and do they actually make sense? Well, that's what we're talking about today. But before going forward, let me point out that we are currently aiming for a goal of 40,000 subscribers, so if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. So this week, the biggest, most obvious one that seems to be sprouting up is Hollow Knight Silksong. This game that we've been waiting on an update for so long, it's felt kind of like a joke at this point. Oh, will this direct have Hollow Knight Silksong? Will this indie showcase have Hollow Knight Silksong? Well, it's now starting to look like something soon is going to showcase this. Because one, the game is now starting to show up for the first time on the Xbox Marketplace, but then also two, the game has been rated in Korea. And typically, once you start to see games show up in different listings like the Xbox Marketplace, or you actually start to see ratings, this strongly suggests that the game is content complete, it's ready to go, and it could be coming out within a few months, if not even sooner. So with all the talk of some type of indie showcase, or maybe even a Nintendo Direct in this month of April, we may finally see not just a showing of this game, but also a release of this game. And that's a pretty big deal, because we've been waiting for this for a very, very long time, and it's looking like it may finally be happening. So this news on Silksong is what led me to making this video. It's like, oh, this is finally coming. Huh. I wonder if there are other projects like this that are about to release for the Switch, with the assumption that this is the final last big year of support. Now, I haven't spoken on the reason why I think this may be the last big year of support, mainly because I've talked about Switch 2 in so many other videos already, but basically, most people expect Switch 2 to come out, if not by some miracle this holiday, most likely early 2025. That's what all the reports from all the reputable outlets are suggesting. And so that's why we're kind of talking about this year being a wrap-up year. But with this in mind, could there be something else that may be showing up? Well, there's another big game that people have been waiting on news for a very, very long time, and that is Metroid Prime 4. Now, Jeff Grubb recently put out some info suggesting that the marketing for this game may kick up in May, and he's heard that it may be coming out for this holiday. I personally have been skeptical of this idea just because I feel like if Nintendo's delaying Switch 2, they would want to save this game as a cross-gen launch window game. And when I say launch window, that doesn't mean a day one release, just within the first few months of the system, to use it as a game to showcase the system, but also to take advantage of that next generation boost, very similar to how Nintendo has handled both Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild. But of course, maybe Nintendo doesn't want to do that. Maybe they just want this to be a big hype game for this holiday. We shall see, but regardless of whether it comes out this holiday or sometime early next year, it's getting to the point where it's time for them to actually show off the game. We've already talked about how we have actual evidence that they are in the QA testing stage for this game, and they have been for over a year at this point, which suggests that they have been in the polishing stages, the wrapping up stages for a while, which only strengthens the notion that, yeah, they could be kicking into the marketing for Prime 4 really soon, showcasing the game, and so we're finally going to see this game in this apparent wrap-up year for Switch 1. But going beyond Silksong and Metroid Prime 4, There's a couple other games that I've kind of been thinking would eventually come to Switch, but haven't yet. One of them is what we've talked about many a time. It's Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD. They were initially rumored by Andy Robinson, the owner of Video Games Chronicle, and others have supported the idea of these happening at some point or another, with the typical pattern of almost a actual mainline Zelda release per year. You would think that if there's a time to do Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD, perhaps now would make the most sense, and the final big moment of Switch, if there's something that Nintendo just has sitting on a shelf somewhere that wouldn't require a lot of effort, and would definitely sell well and help to sort of keep things going until next year for Switch 2, it would be Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD. And while I wouldn't say I would totally give up on the idea if they don't happen this year, my belief in them happening anytime soon would drop dramatically if they don't happen this year. So I kind of think this is the year. And if not, then either A, the rumor was always wrong, or B, plans changed, as they tend to do a lot when you're talking about things behind the scenes before they've officially been announced. But of course, while my hope in this would drop if it doesn't happen this year, like I said before, Nintendo may want games for Switch to come out after Switch 2 releases, and perhaps Wind Waker and Twilight Princess might be a good fit then, and then maybe also they offer a 4K resolution version on Switch 2, which would be a basic upscale. I don't think these games are going to be getting any major enhancements. It's basically what we got on Wii U, and that's pretty much it. But there's another game I have in mind that would also be a wonderful fit for potentially this year as a wrap-up game, and that, I think, would be Super Mario Galaxy 2 Remastered. Now, I'm not saying that this game would have some sort of significant overhaul, like Metroid Prime or Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition or even Thousand Year Door Remake, but considering what we got with Super Mario 3D All-Stars, how we got Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Galaxy all enhanced in some way, the one that was really missing that had left a lot of people scratching their heads was Mario Galaxy 2. And 3D All-Stars was a limited release. Nintendo eventually stopped issuing physical versions of this game, and you cannot buy it on the eShop. So perhaps later this year, Nintendo will make some sort of announcement that these games will all be made individually available, and they'll also release Galaxy 2 that has a similar sort of enhancement as Galaxy 1, which is basically just like an HD upscale. It looks nice, it runs well on Switch, and that's pretty much it, but it's a wonderful game as is, and a lot of people would be very excited to play it. And so I think this is actually a relatively high likelihood. Now, something I didn't intend on bringing up for this video, but as I'm wrapping up here, it kind of just crossed my mind, is a Luigi's Mansion 1 basic remaster. I've talked about this before in other videos, but with the release of Luigi's Mansion 2 HD about to happen this June, I kind of think that Nintendo may drop another basic remaster very similar to Pikmin 1 and 2 of Luigi's Mansion 1. So we have Luigi's Mansion 1, 2, and 3 on the Switch. If we have 2 and 3 but not 1, it's going to be a real weird head scratcher. Kind of like Galaxy 2 actually, if not more so. So I have an optimism that games like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Galaxy 2, and Luigi's Mansion will somehow make it onto Switch, and maybe not all of those will happen, but I think some of these may happen this year. And when it comes to Silksong, that's looking like almost a foregone conclusion with the ratings, we shall see. And then for Metroid Prime 4, while I'm not certain it will come out this year, I do think we will finally start to see this game this year. I would actually be totally shocked if we don't see this game this year. So I expect to see it in some way, shape, or form, because I do believe that this is the wrap-up year for Switch 1. We are coming to a close. It's why we only got a partner showcase in February. Things are being handled differently this time, and Nintendo is prepping to move on. And this may also include price drops and perhaps a Nintendo Select line, or just more discounts for their different games. And that's going to be fun for a lot of people. But what do you all make of this idea of this wrap-up year for Switch 1? Are you kind of thinking that I'm on the right track here with 2024? Are we going to see more of these projects finally come out because it's the final year? Are we going to see these price drops? Or are you thinking it's going to be handled a bit differently? Let me know in the comments below. This is Andre's Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.